This is Steve Litchfield here for allaboutwindowsphone.com, looking at the HP Elite X3 front-mounted stereo speakers and comparing them to a number of other data points there just to help along. Notice that Nokia 808 recording it, by the way. I do trust the 808's microphones for picking up accurate audio. I'm going to upload all of this in one blob, so apologies for any fluffs, but I don't want my editing software to get in the way. I want this to go straight up to YouTube. So here's first of all, a sample of Joe Bonamassa, Midnight Blues on the Elite X3. This is up to full volume now. Amazing guitar playing, by the way, but we'll come back to that in a minute. Just as a data point, here's the older Lumia 1020 with a very typical Lumia speaker for the era. And apologies for the flips between portrait and landscape. My 1020's got a mind of its own under Redstone. There we are. But it's Redstone 2. Here we go. Speaker on the bottom, of course, here with the Lumia 1020. This is going right back to Windows Phone 8.1, I suspect. So far, I think the Elite X3 is in the lead, but the old Lumia speakers are pretty good. Now, a more current contender from the Lumia world. This is the 950 XL, not known for a particularly good speaker, as you'll hear. It's also on the back of the unit, which is rather annoying, but again, I'll give you a blast. Full volume. There's the speaker. So I would say by some way the tiniest of the three so far. Let's go to a relatively current Android competitor. This has got the same speakers more or less as those in the Nexus 6P. This is my Nexus 6, a beloved device, and you'll hear why in a moment. This is again full volume. Once it's buffered, there we go. Just thought I'd let you enjoy that particular guitar run by Joe. And finally, I couldn't resist throwing in the Marshall London. I know it's old, I know it's overpriced at the current price, and I know it's really not up to the cutting edge in 2016. But anyway, enjoy. I'll try and get this to full screen. Amazing bass there from such a tiny phone. It really is. But as I say, not really a serious competitor. But the Rolls-Royce, the gold standard of audio output from a smartphone in terms of speakers. We'll come to the headphone output from the Elite X3 in a future article, no doubt. Let's just take you back to the X3 itself, just to give a comparison. If the Elite X3 will play ball, it's been very laggy and buggy today. So. I have to say, I'm not overly impressed. I would say that the speakers on the Elite X3 don't produce that much better fidelity than even the Lumia 950 XL. They do provide the stereo separation when you're watching in landscape mode. It is slightly higher fidelity, but it's a world away from the front facing speakers on the likes of the recent Nexuses and many other, including the Alcatel Idol 3. HTC's 10, of course, isn't true full volume stereo, but it's still much, much better. The Elite X3 needs to be playing up with the big boys and all of its components, and the camera I've already shown is underperforming by quite a way at the moment with the current firmware. I don't expect the speakers to get any better with a firmware update, but at the moment, well, it's somewhat average and rather underwhelming, especially with this Bang & Olufsen logo on the front. What were they thinking? I wonder whether it's just a nominal thing or whether they did actually work with B&O. There's certainly not much more volume or fidelity than on most other smartphones. So rather underwhelming. I'll keep testing, of course, and there will be a full review in due course. Thanks for watching.